Can't a fella be on a podcast without being a comedian?
I don't know about that. Hello, friends. Say hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome back to another episode of Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast that sometimes breaks its no guest streak. I'm Chris, your co-host. We have a guest, which is very exciting. This is someone I connected with on Threads and actually guested on their podcast. Guest, would you like to introduce yourself? Say your name, your pronouns, anything else you think the listeners need to know right off the bat?
Ooh, listeners, welcome to the cage, the bird cage. I am your Dove AP. I am one of the hosts of Dovewhether. My pronouns are he, him. My background is being Mexican. And that's right, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, South Side. Anything else you want to know about me is written on the Malort label. So, yeah, I'm 40% proof.
Wait. You're from Chicago?
I'm from Chicago, yeah.
How the fuck did I not know that? I am from the Chicago area, and so is Lauren.
Oh, a lot of good people come out of the Chicago area.
I know, right? I really like Midwestern people.
We're kind of great.
So, AP, did you say your name, by the way?
Yeah. I'd like to introduce myself as AP. My name is Alex. My last name is currently unknown to the masses.
So, AP, we usually start each episode by asking each other where we're at. And since you are the honorary co-host for this evening, I'm going to ask you, where are you at today in this moment?
You know, I am in a good spot. I've been floating around Chicago, South Side and North Side for the last couple of days, just telling people I'm capital H happy, I'm capital C content, I'm capital G grateful. I'm just in a moment in my life where I feel good, and like that is a privilege in itself. I don't communicate with any other sense than like astonishment, because I've spent time not being like this.
Right.
And now I get to enjoy it. And so I'm in a good spot, Chris.
Hell yeah. I kind of feel similarly, actually. I recorded with Lauren this morning, so this is actually my second recording of the day. And we were talking about when things get better and you become stable or stabler, and all of a sudden, without the chaos that usually like defines your identity, who are you? You know? And so I think it's cool that you are embracing being happy, because you really don't know how long it's gonna last.
True that. And I say it with like an open heart. Like, I'm also someone who like wants to experience the full spectrum of emotions. I hope to not be stuck in happiness mode forever. I hope I get to feel things like love and heartbreak, longing. I hope I get to feel every other color of the rainbow, just because I think that's what's useful in the human experience. You can't just have one flavor your whole life.
Gotta feel them all.
What you drinking? I just heard some drinking. What you drinking?
I'm surprised you can pick that up. Very unprofessional of me. It's a sparkling water, and it's raspberry flavored.
Ooh, decadent.
Yeah, I'm keeping it classy.
I ask you because I have a big, healthy glass of cold brew.
Oh my god, I just had cold brew. How do you drink it?
I do put a little bit of cream and sugar into it, just enough to like change the color. I have to say that outside of adding milk and sugar to my ice, not my ice latte, what am I saying? My cold brew.
Your iced cold brew.
It just feels a little too rugged, I think.
I go up to that counter and I'm like, hey, I'll have a rugged cold brew, please. Black.
Do you take off or put on your leather jacket before you say it?
Well, usually I'm wearing the leather jacket when I walk in, and then when I'm at the counter, I take it off.
Oh.
For full effect. Yeah. Take off the sunglasses, the whole thing. So, AP, this is a mental health podcast. I was on your podcast recently to review a movie called Raw, which if you haven't seen the movie, watch it now. So then when you listen to that episode, whenever it comes out, you'll be in the know. Great episode. We ended up talking about a lot of mental health related things, but I don't really know your full story. Like, you reached out to me on Threads. I've listened to a few episodes of your podcast, which is great. It's all about, it's an intersectional podcast, I would say.
Yeah, it's a podcast about liking media and art, being gay, and thinking about the world as is versus what you want it to be, which is it sounds a little gloomy, but we get up to some fun.
Yeah, I would say we do the same here. We talk about really heavy topics. Sometimes we even laugh too much. Like, we're constantly having to force ourselves not to laugh because our trauma response is to make jokes.
Yeah.
As one does. So AP, I want to know, how was mental health approached growing up? And how would you describe your current mental health journey?
So currently, I'm in a position in my life where I'm not struck or suffering with any, diagnoses, which is nice. When I was younger, much like many young men, I felt disillusioned with the great questions of life, of love and of religion, and also the position of society that I held. And so that caused some strife within me. But growing up, I spent a lot of time in the Catholic Church, which, although not known for its very progressive ways, I grew up in the Mexican Catholic Church. So it was filled with love and conversations about what it means to be part of something greater, even if that greater thing is structured religion. So in my household, although it didn't, my family didn't know how to talk about these things, what they did know is to always go back to say, hey, we believe in a God that is loving, so try to find that. Which, I'm not here to deliver a sermon. all I'm saying is that my family was as supportive as they could be with the tools that they had, and of course that wasn't always perfect, but as an adult now, I could say that I'm very grateful for the light hand that they gave me. Better than being overbearing, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no parents are perfect. I can't imagine bringing a human into the world and being responsible for who they are,
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, Chris. This is a question I'm going to steal from another podcast, which I will not be crediting.
Oh, shit.
That's right. Do you believe humans are naturally good?
Oh, man. So I've had conversations about this before on this podcast, how I was brought up to see humans as wicked and sinful and in need of rescuing. So even though logically I know that constructs like good and evil are constructed, they're just that, they're constructed, Basically, the answer is I want to believe all humans are good. And I have to constantly fight the cynicism that says that the opposite is true.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I'm with you. Good and evil is a construct that's incredible for a narrative structure, but in the real world, hard to find clean cuts of both. But I think humans are naturally cooperative, and I think that generally lies on the good side of things. I think most people want to help each other. I think most people want to accept help. I think we live in a system where you're rewarded to think otherwise, to think the exact opposite, actually. And I think that kind of paints the whole humanity into this kind of craven, money hungry, group that would backstab anybody for just a little bit more. But like I said, I think that's the system. I don't think that's humanity.
It's capitalism, baby. You gave me a few topics to consider when you filled out the guest form. I'm trying to let this conversation be more organic because I'm infamous for trying to wrap everything up in a neat little positive bow and like getting too in my head. But with that said, I'm very curious about growing up Mexican and like what that means to you and how that intersects with your mental health. And then I'm also really interested about your surgery.
Yeah. First, let me say, being Mexican, incredible. I highly recommend it. I think about what I miss about living in Mexico and what I miss about having, like most people around me be Mexican is that it's just community focused. There are many times where I am prancing around Chicago, hoping to like have a magical experience and to be met with the reality that if you're not part of some group already, you're not going to really find community. And it's unfortunate. Like, I wish we lived a similar style that the Mexicans do, because it would mean that there is some sort of celebration every weekend. And even though that you might not be connected directly to them, you might be able to roll up with a case of drinks and be able to be accepted, or some meat for the asada. So there's just a level of like welcoming and like mutuality that is very much part of being Mexican. And I love it. I wish I had more of that. I wish I could like walk, like if we were in the same city, what I would do is I would invite you over to just like hang out with people I barely know or kind of know or know very well, including my family. And I would hope you would accept the invite, because I have been invited to many Mexican gatherings where I meet someone's wife for the first time, their parents for the first time, their co-workers. I meet people in their life just casually. It doesn't have to be this whole rigmarole of, do I know this person enough to like let into my circle? The circle's just open.
That's the thing, is we don't trust anybody in our culture. It's all based around fear. Like, what can this person do to me? Like, how am I vulnerable right now? And yeah, it's really fucking hard to build community with that mindset.
So hard. Like, in one of your previous episodes, you mentioned about, well, the reality that the Second Amendment exists in this country, and like in Mexico, that's not the case. So like, you can probably invite anybody off the street, and sure, there might be some stranger danger there, but at least they're not carrying a piece of metal that could end your life.
Right. Yeah, that's I didn't consider that, and that makes a lot of sense. Are guns like the root of all evil in this country?
At least the NRA is.
So when did you move to Chicago?
I was born here, but I've lived in a bunch of places.
Okay.
I think we share that in common, actually. Right? You've lived in a bunch of places, too.
I have. I never know what to say when people ask me where I'm from. I don't know if you can relate to that. I mean, my dream is to live somewhere for at least 5 years and have a community where, like, I can walk over to a friend's house, like you were saying, and just hang out and, invite someone into dinner randomly. I kind of had that in my old town that I left for this current city, and I do miss those people. That's the thing. I can make friends everywhere, even if I'm in a less than ideal situation. That's one thing that I guess I'm proud of myself for.
Yeah. And I want that for you and for like literally everyone listening to. Like, I want to live in a place where community is something you can access quickly and geographically close versus some magical place in some magical time.
Yeah, like it's easy to fall into the trap of, oh, well, I will find community when blank. I will find community once I do blank. I think sometimes we feel like we have to bring something to be accepted into a community, like we have to earn our way in. And that's, going back to the capitalism of it all. I think a lot of friendships now are very much viewed as transactional.
Yeah, that is hard. It's hard not to think of like, hey, I invited this person, but they didn't show up. So when they invite me to something, I'm not going to show up to their thing. And that's purely a transactional like concept, one that I try not to live by, but it is hard, it is hard.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm perfect at finding community. I have anxiety and I don't leave my apartment very often. So there's that.
I do struggle sometimes to tell people where I'm from. I sometimes tell people I'm a Southerner because I did grow up in Texas. But it's like, how many like hats can I wear? I'm a Chicagoan, I'm a Texan, I'm a Mexican, I'm queer, I'm incredible on the dance floor. And so like eventually like the identities like mash into kind of a blob that doesn't really ever like satisfy. So I'm with you. Like, where am I from? Chicago, I guess. But I really want to be seen as someone that has experienced a lot of this planet in a short amount of time. A world citizen.
Ooh, yeah. It's so hard to fathom that the world will be a very different place in like just 5 years. So that's been making me want to see as much of it as possible. I mean, as morbid as that sounds. This country alone has so much variety in terms of like geography, I guess. Like, I haven't even explored all of this country, That's
why you gotta ride. You gotta jump on those 2 wheels and ride.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. You might have heard me talking in previous episodes. I've been able to find community, like a queer motorcycle community here. But the only reason I found that community is because like I have a bike. And I think that's unfortunate that that kind of goes along with what I was saying about like earning your way into a group. Like there's some barrier of entry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I listened to the episode of your podcast where you came out as queer, actually.
Yeah, that's right. AP is queer.
Yeah, it was relatively recent. I want to know, like, what led up to that moment for you.
I was hanging around a lot of queers, a lot of gays, a lot of lesbians, a lot of trans people. Ooh, a lot of trans people. And, like, I was part of a group that was kind of like politically active here in Chicago. And I was in a very feminist circle at the time. Like just everyone around me just very openly talked about feminism, would talk about what they're reading in feminist theory. They would put on protests and march for like reproductive rights and reproductive health care. And so I happened to just start adding more and more queer people to my life. And then eventually, after talking to my co-host, my good friend, Marcy, my bestie, I had to come up with the realization that I feel more comfortable around queers for some reason. And just because I could say a boy is pretty or a guy or a male actor is beautiful, or just because I may or may not go to the gay section of a, let's just say, adult website every once in a while, that doesn't make me gay. That doesn't make me queer. But eventually, like, the contradictions were too high. They were too much. I was in this moment in my life where things were okay. And I had to just tell Marcy was the first person outside of my family that I told I was queer. And it could have only happened through community. It could have only happened through like the creative process. And it could have only happened through wanting to be vulnerable. 3 things that I am constantly like juggling, thinking I'm not good at it, but talking about it now, I'm just like, wait a minute, maybe I am good at those things.
Episode over. We've accomplished our goal. That's so beautiful, though. And I actually have a really similar story. I grew up really sheltered and, I didn't think being gay was an option. And so I just thought I was going to meet a man someday and get married and have kids and all that stuff. And, starting in college, at a Christian college, mind you, I started hanging out with all the gay people. And then when I dropped out of Christian college and started working at Starbucks, I was hanging out with all the gay people, which, to be fair, is almost all of them at Starbucks. And it still never hit me until 3 years ago that I might be queer. Like, in retrospect, it's like, duh. But I think that's really endearing to think that even if we didn't know why we liked hanging out with that community so much, like there's clearly something going on there beneath the surface.
Yeah. Can I take a random guess at the school you went?
Oh, please. You'll never guess.
Did you go to Wheaton College?
No, I did not, but I've toured it.
Oh, so I was close.
Wheaton was on my list, actually. I ended up going to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because it was as far away from Chicago as I could go at the time.
Okay.
I wanted to get away from family. It was a bad decision. Oklahoma sucks.
I believe you. I've never been, but I believe you.
Hopefully that's not offensive. I know some great people in Oklahoma. I just never want to live there again.
Hearing your story, it's just a reminder of how important, like, the silly little things like a pride march is useful. Because, you know, maybe by itself it won't, like, make someone come to the realization that being gay is okay, but it's one drop in the bucket.
Yes.
Being openly queer is another drop in the bucket. And as someone who, like, wants to outwardly look queer, and I don't think I really succeed at it too much, but I want to outwardly look queer. I think about that. I think about how if I present myself as someone who's not heterosexual or heteronormative, I am also the drop in the bucket in somebody else's story.
Yes, exactly. You never know who's watching. Like, I have a lot of young cousins that are in the church, and I don't see them very often, but I'm friends with some of them on social media, and their journey is their journey, but I don't want to stop being my authentic self just because, like, certain religious people follow me or whatever.
I feel like I am hosting my show right now. All I want to do is just ask you questions and be like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?
I mean, I know I'm supposed to be asking you the questions, although I've kind of given up on calling this an interview show by now. We pretty much just show up and have casual conversations.
I'm also such a type A personality where I'm just kind of like,
yes.
What if I just grab the reins of this show for just a tiny bit? And what if I ask you something here, which is like in your mind?
Okay.
It was taxing to be straight, right? Or to play as straight.
Well, yes. In retrospect, yes. It always felt like a chore being with a man, and I never ever felt like I was in love. I kept waiting to feel that feeling that other people described. At the beginning, you were talking about wanting to feel love and longing. Like, I never felt any of that for men. Like, I connected with them over shared interests, and, you know, I'm not going to lie, there was intimacy there because I really get along with dudes. And I like having dude friends. But yeah, I didn't realize till I was 31 that I was gay, essentially. And I go back and forth between using the words like queer, gay. I think it's all kind of personal and somewhat arbitrary. I don't know what you think about labels in the queer community.
I think labels are only as useful as the communicator wants to use. Because, like, I on that episode where I came out as gay, what I came out as is pansexual, which is very funny. I think calling myself pansexual now would be so funny. But, like,
really?
Yeah, I could have easily just come out as bisexual. But now, like, if a label makes you feel better, I think I am not the label police. I don't really want to, like, be there to hem and haw because someone calls themselves this or that. One of the beautiful things about being in the social circles that I am is that I get to be with a lot of lesbians.
Nice. I'm jealous.
And I see people talk about lesbians online where they're like, a lesbian is this, a lesbian is that. And I think about how the lesbians in my life show up, and all I could say is I see lesbian more as a political, like, statement, just like I use queer as a political statement versus a defined set of characteristics that indicate a certain type of attraction.
Yeah. And that's, your definition. Someone else's might be completely different. It's just, like you said, whatever makes you feel good, whatever feels right. Yeah, I mean, I was good at performing straightness, I guess, but once I finally accepted that I wasn't sexually attracted to men and that I was genderqueer, although that happened later, it was such a relief. I was like, oh shit, this is what I could have felt like the whole time. And I feel a little bit of grief about that. And I was wondering if you kind of have a similar experience.
So I was always a bit of a fruity guy. Although I played sports in high school, I kind of dropped that in college. I was a quiet kid. No one really expected me to be a Casanova. So I could play straight because I am attracted to women. But when it came to the doing the homosociality that men participate in, playing grab ass with each other, I never really took part in that because I found it weird, because it's this guy, I've heard him say some homophobic things, so why is he now humping his friend just as a joke?
Repression. Wow, that's so interesting though. First of all, we would have gotten along great as kids. I was also very quiet and never dated, and just I was always awkward around big groups of girls, and I never understood why some girls would get undressed around each other and stuff. It was just so weird to me.
Absolutely. I think we would have been good friends if you would have been into nerdy stuff. I don't know how nerdy you are.
Oh boy, let me tell you.
You're clearly a dork, but I don't know how nerdy you are.
When I was 12, I wrote Lord of the Rings fan fiction, and I taught myself Elvish.
Oh, you got credentials.
I still go to Renaissance fairs pretty regularly, and I dress up. Oh, have you been to Bristol Renaissance Fair in Wisconsin?
No, I haven't. I tried going last year for the first time, but then I got sick.
Well, you should go next year. It is the best Renaissance fair I've ever been to. It's the golden standard now that I compare all the other fairs to, and none of them measure up. So yeah, I'm a nerd.
Marcy doesn't like me talking about how much I am into Star Wars, but I am such a Star Wars head.
Nice. See, when I was growing up with my siblings, we would have fights over which was better, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. You couldn't like one and also like the other. You had to pick.
You have to pick. Sorry, you either like elves or you like elves in space.
Ewoks. Growing up, would you say you were insecure?
Yeah, this is part of my larger history. Insecurity really manifested because I didn't like my weight. I was a fat kid. I'm a tall guy already. I was already much taller than a lot of people around me. And I also weighed so much more than a lot of people around me, the other teens. And I was insecure because thinking back at how I used to think of myself versus how I really was, makes the difference so vast and so palpable, because I wasn't really so fat that I couldn't be fun to be around with. Those things aren't correlated in any way.
Exactly, I was gonna say.
But in my little mind, I thought, I'm ugly, I'm fat, and therefore I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to have a social life. I don't deserve to have a partner. All I could do is worry about Boba Fett and his antics. So yeah, I was insecure, and it took getting to college for me to really blossom into a more confident person.
Yeah, what did that look like for you?
We already mentioned that you and I, we share the history of moving around a lot. And so I don't know if we share this or not, but one thing that happened because I moved so much is that I'm a good talker. I could talk the bark off a tree. And
You should start a podcast.
I didn't really expect to go to college to see that, other people hadn't developed their like oratory skills the way that I had. And so I just kind of started exploring that. I started like seeing who I could talk to that I didn't think I could get along. Is it a frat boy? Is it a D1 athlete? Is it this person in my calc class that doesn't talk to anybody else but me? Like, I became a natural, like, networker. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You could airdrop me in the boardroom or the discotheque and I am able to just talk to anyone there. And so what it looked like is me just having conversations with just my fellow students, whether I had something in common with them or not. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
So I was, a freshman. I really didn't have any history of drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes because that's not something I did. It's not something I advise teenagers do either. So like, I don't feel any way. I don't feel bad that I didn't do it. But I was a freshman and I would go to these frat parties, both invited because I knew people there and also because they're just open. That's just the rule in the college that I went to. They're just open to people. Some of them are close, but a lot of them are open. And so like I would dance a bit in the dance floor and then I would crack open a beer and then I would just ask a random question to someone, whoever is next to me. Like I remember one question I asked was a very nerdy question where it's just like, what do you think about the new Star Wars movie? This was when The Force Awakens was gonna premiere. And I asked this to like a very attractive college girl. Why did I ask that?
Okay.
Was it a good idea? Was I a little inebriated? Maybe. But... And I just proceeded to talk to her for like 5-10 minutes. I don't remember the details of the conversations, but what I know is that like literally 4 months prior, I would have never done that. And it wasn't the alcohol that made me find some level of courage. What it was is just knowing that most people will answer you if you just ask them a question. And as long as you're not a creep or a weirdo, they're probably going to answer it no problem. I wish I could tell you, oh, then we started making out and then like we dirty danced on the dance floor and oh, the next morning we woke up to get breakfast together. I wish I could tell you that, but it's not like if I became some Lothario like overnight. I just happen to like understand that, and something I wish more people like understood is that if you just want to get along with people, you could just try. You could just do it. It's not an insurmountable...
Mind blown.
Yeah. As I tell someone with social anxiety.
Well, no, I've also been trying to do that more. The last guest we had on, my friend and I, gave me a truth or dare challenge, and I picked dare. And they said, next time you notice a hot lady that you want to talk to, I dare you to talk to her. And since then, I've been kind of trying to like practice up to it. Like I've been talking to more people I don't know at like gatherings and stuff. And yeah, trying to come up with conversation on the fly is hard, and questions are great because everyone loves talking about themselves. Also, I'm legitimately interested.
Do you have a pickup line?
No.
No.
You know what's funny? So this is an example of one way I got a date. This is back when I was dating men in Seattle. I had like a little hoe summer. I never date casually, but this summer I did. I was on Tinder, and one of the guys, I asked him if he wanted to come over and help me give my cat a bath.
Nice.
Like, my literal cat, just to be clear. And he did, and it was fun. And then we went walking in the woods after that, and ended the night making milkshakes.
Ooh.
So...
what a sapphic date.
That's an example of... what you get when you date me.
Chris the hoe getting milkshakes with people every night.
I don't know. I think people try too hard to be suave and cool. I think most people are pretty dorky. You asked me if I think people are good or evil. I think people are dorky. It just depends, like, how dorky. And so I usually say something dorky as, like, an icebreaker so they know it's a safe space to be dorky. And if they don't engage with dorkiness, then they're not my people.
Yeah, no, I like a dork. I feel so jocular now as an adult.
Jocular.
Yeah. So like I like whoever I'm with to be a little more dorky than me because that just makes me feel even more like a jock, and so I'm with you.
You seem cooler by comparison. I see.
Going back to like I was teasing you about a pickup line, but like it's a rainy day in Chicago. And usually, back when I was on the dating apps, on days like this, what I would text people is like, I wish I had you to warm me up.
No. No, you didn't. Oh, man.
It worked way more with men than it did with femme-presenting people. So, like, I look, I know my audience.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Wow. So going back to confidence and body image, I want to talk about that a little more. Again, we discussed this on your podcast, but we both have very different experiences, like dealing with different body sizes. And at the same time, I think we could relate to the discomfort that comes when like people pressure you to eat, and like just food being such a big thing in society, and what, you know, how that can affect your mental health if you struggle with food or body image.
Yeah, so I had a bariatric surgery a couple of years ago because I just got to a level of like fat that is inadvisable. It was just gonna be very difficult for me to ever lose it if I ever were to lose it. And although I didn't have any health scares, what I did have is the worst mental state of my life. And I was actively someone who looked at myself in the mirror and thought, I hate you. Like, I would say that to myself. And I felt unlovable. I felt like I don't deserve anything. And so, like, in the span of, like, maybe 3 months, I went from thinking about it and then booking my flight to go get it. Although that is very quickly, and honestly, I don't think anybody should be that quick to get it. The regular procedure is that, like, you first spend a year prepping for it.
Oh, shit.
And you're supposed to meet with a doctor of internal medicine. You're supposed to meet with a therapist and a psychiatrist. And you're supposed to, like, have different tests done. And then you get it. And then you spend another year doing follow-up work. And I did none of that. Were there risks? Maybe. But I was already living such a risky life, being so, like, mentally unwell and physically unwell, and I was also like financially unwell too, that just taking this random chance was worth it. And it did pay off. Like, listener, please do not emulate me. I'm being honest here. Please talk to a doctor. Not everybody's a young, dumb, mid-20-year-old. But since then, I've been so good. I've been so good. I feel like $1 million every day. Like, I might not be chiseled. I might not have this, like, Anakin Skywalker twink-like body. But I am I'm someone who sees themselves in the mirror, and all I can think of it is, oh, who's this hunk? Oh, who let this bad boy into this house?
Who let this bad boy onto this podcast?
And so, like, I feel like I'm not being, like, detail oriented enough in describing this, but what I want to make clear is that in the, like, whole, in the big picture, I went from having the worst mental state that I could have to, like, now it's been multiple years where I feel way more confident in myself, incredibly more confident in myself. And now I'm not going to frat parties to hit on chicks, you know. I'm not a pervert, but I am going to parties hitting on people like all the time. I'm just someone who has eliminated the need to have an ideal physique to be happy. So even if I gained weight again, I'm gonna find a way to be happy, because I know it's no longer about fitting a certain body image or a certain, like, beauty standard. It's all about the internal life. It's all about what I want out of myself. And that, no one can take that away. Not even myself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Do you relate to that? The feeling of like the internal satisfaction is like way more valuable than any external satisfaction.
So this is a really complicated topic. It's so juicy because like, yeah, I don't think happiness should come from your body. And at the same time, when your body reflects who you are on the inside, that's so euphoric and affirming. And when you feel comfortable and safe in your body, it really makes a world of difference. And I have not really felt like that ever. And I've always been average to thin. Like I've had thin privilege my whole life, and I've never been, fat or anything like that. And I've still like always hated my body. And I'm going to get real personal here. Since I came out as queer, I realized I was queer at 28, and then it took until 31 to realize I wasn't attracted to men. And then it took until 32 to realize that I like to use the term non-binary because it's easy to understand, but I've been looking into top surgery because I've always felt really uncomfortable with like my breasts. And I think one of the reasons I starve myself is so that they shrink. And I feel like a lot of that might be related to the gender stuff, but it is a really big decision. And I don't know. I don't want to like get top surgery and then realize like, oh, I actually just had an eating disorder. They're so interconnected. I don't even remember the original question you asked. Sorry.
I've met multiple people that have gotten top surgery. I've never heard anybody talk about like seeking to be a certain weight so their breasts aren't a certain size. And you just broke my mind there. Being genderqueer is so difficult. My love and my solidarity to you.
Well, thank you, first of all. I spend so much time with people with eating disorders. I forget that some of this is like news to people. Like, not everyone would know that. We've had a lot of trans people on the show who, in large part, they developed their eating disorders because the body that they were in did not feel like them. And so the eating disorder was a way to manipulate the body into what you wanted, like whether to be smaller and more feminine or like, with me shrinking my breasts, like, and again, this is all in retrospect that I am realizing this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happens subconsciously for a lot of people. And that's why it drives me crazy when people think eating disorders are all about looks or like being thin to be fashionable or whatever. Because especially for queer people with eating disorders, it is related to gender. And hormones and surgeries aren't accessible for everyone. So you do what you can.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that. The body, takes up so much volume, but it is absolutely reflective of the infinite space of the mind. To think that someone could develop an eating disorder to reaffirm their gender is just another reason why people deserve the healthcare that is real, dignified, and personalized to the individual without the need of some weirdo out in Utah or out in Rhode Island making decisions about what a doctor and their patients should do. And it breaks my heart.
Well, and at the same time, being part of the queer community has been really helpful for my body image issues. Like, queer people are so diverse and come in all shapes and sizes. And I find that they're quicker to embrace that. And so it's been really healthy to be around a lot of people with like normal, imperfect bodies. And they're like loud and proud and comfortable in their skin. And it gives me something to want to emulate.
Oh, yeah. One thing I'm so jealous of, and I like wish I could have like learned more before I had my surgery, is I have met queer people who like make their like stomach the central focus of an outfit, for example.
Yes, same.
Or they make like a statement about, oh yeah, I got a paunch, I got a like a belly, and you're gonna love me for it. And I am jealous that I never figured that out.
Yes, I know. It's really alien when you're not used to loving your body or even being in touch with your body. Like, I think people need to focus on accepting their body before they can love their body. I don't even think loving your body necessarily has to be the goal. It's just acceptance. Like accepting you're queer. Like, this is the way I am. I don't know if I can change it. Of course, you know, you can control your body more than you can control your sexuality, but you know what I mean.
Well, it's also an illusion, right? Because like you can really only control your body so much. Like,
exactly.
There's no such thing as wanting or meditating long enough that you could grow another appendage, or like even getting a part of your stomach removed takes the effort of somebody else and the trust on somebody else to do that. And just because I am someone that did that doesn't mean that I don't have any adipose tissue. I still got some love handles on me. And you know what? I'm a lover boy. So that's okay with me.
It's normal. Some might say sexy.
And if you're one of those, hit me up.
Yeah, AP's number will be in the show notes.
Because it is an illusion. Like, a lot of people, we live in a time where a lot of people think that all you have to do is eat the right vitamins, take the right supplements, be on the right diet, and do enough workout to like be a certain way. But the truth is the body is a moving object. It will always change. It will always change. Mm-hmm. You can either learn to be satisfied with the natural changes in your life and the changes that you work on also, or you can learn to feel the grip of insecurity that not having the body that you want brings.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what we can get used to. Like, it can feel so familiar, hating your body, that when you realize, like when you go back, what am I trying to say? It's easy to normalize discomfort and normalize being miserable in your skin. But it is possible for people to accept and love themselves. Hot take.
I know that you talk about this a lot, but like, I can't help but notice in our two conversations when it does like come up, you struggle to communicate it. Is, you know, is it all right to talk about this? The last thing I want to do is come onto your show and be like, hey, let's talk about something you don't want to talk about.
Oh, no. Are you talking about the body image stuff?
Yeah, I'm talking about also like, you know, you lost track of your thoughts there for a moment. And I just want to make sure that it's okay to talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for checking in. I just have ADHD. It happens all the time. I also smoke weed and that doesn't help.
Nice.
I'm always scatterbrained, but trying to accept it about myself. And I really do enjoy talking about this topic with you because you're coming at it from such a different place. And it really makes me feel joyful that you are so happy in your body and that you are finding that confidence that you lacked when you were little. It does my heart good.
That's
seriously.
I believe you. I believe you. I look at the generation below us and I think about how often, I wonder how often they're hearing just people have a conversation like this and just say, hey, it's okay to like yourself for who you are. It's okay to want to look different.
Yes.
But it's perfectly acceptable to find a level of tranquility with how you look like right now. And if you don't believe that, there is someone living that truth right now in whatever body you think you have or don't have.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to be thinking about this conversation for a while. We're almost out of time, and I wanted to ask you if you had any final thoughts and if you want to plug your show a little more and tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. So my final thoughts are like, they really are centered around the idea of having enough confidence to build community. I bring that up just because I am doing that in my own life right now. I don't really talk about my personal life on the shows too much, but I just want you to know, listener, and I want you to know, Chris, too, that like I'm not a comedian on a podcast talking about things that he's not doing. Everything I talk about is something I am doing in one way or another. And also, I want to take this moment in the mental health podcast that I'm on right now to say, fuck anybody who's looks maxing right now. Fuck you.
Oh, man. You need to come back just to talk about that. We have not touched that subject on this podcast.
I'm happy to do so. If you are like Chris and want to listen to some ravings about a gay Mexican and a trans woman, you can come and listen to Dovewhether everywhere that you can find good podcasts. We cover everything that is media and art. We use a queer lens to try to queer both any media and art, but also to find a new path outside of the heteronormative structure of the 2020s. And we also use a materialist lens to talk about things, because we live in a material world, and everything that is within real space and within real time affects us. That is because we're a socialist podcast. So if you're interested in just taking a break from the constant drilling of the internet about how to make money or how to like what other bullshit that is constantly like swarming your feed, you could come take a break.
How to get a hot date at a frat party.
Yeah. You could come just enjoy two people talking about some gay shit.
Hell yeah.
And that's at Dovewhether everywhere. You could go to dovewhether.com for links.
Okay, I see you with that domain. Thank you so much for coming on, AP. I had a lot of fun with this conversation. And I also had fun being on your podcast. You brought up a lot of questions I really wasn't expecting. So go listen to that, everybody.
I stumped them. I put two fractions and I asked them to like equalize them. And they were like, math.
Oh my God. For a second, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Look, I said I'm not a comedian, and I stick to that. I don't know this funny stuff. All I know is how to be chill at parties.
I didn't choose this life. This life chose me.
Yeah, can't a fella be on a podcast without being a comedian?
I don't know about that.
Can't a fella be on a podcast without being right-wing? And to that, I say yes.
Oh, God, I hope so. Well, I'm really happy that you came on. You're welcome back anytime, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you. I really appreciate it being here, and I really enjoy your show. Please continue to pump it out. I am a listener. I am a fan, and I look forward to hearing about Lauren's stories about her paramour and all the intricacies there. And I look forward to hearing about your ecstatic introduction into the biking queer community. So please, I really do enjoy this show. Please continue to do it.
Thank you. I'll do my best. Also, your show should be called Gay Mexican and a Trans Lady. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can send them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where they can listen to our entire catalog and find our newest merch. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka. My personal Instagram is at xcjumperx, and Lauren's is at Lauren3_AFH. We'll see you next week.